Throw the fork. Here you go.
Sit down.
Sit
down.
Oh, what you looking at? I throw it. I didn't throw it. You fucking flinch. Look.
When I first started playing DCUO, I don't think there were combos. There was just the weapon type you picked and you would master that. I think the combos are very clean though, the animations are very cool, sometimes they're a bit lackluster, but still, the concept overall is very cool and creative. I just like to see some even cooler moves added into certain weapons. Why can't we throw our spears? Throwing melee weapons isn't even a new thing to DCUO either. And if you've already purchased the water power set, you could summon a giant trident from the sky, but you cannot throw your spear at your enemies. And I don't know how practical adding anything new to DCUO is, but just for fun, I want to explore the possibilities, like what kind of things could enhance the gaming experience for DCUO players. DCUO has a staggering yet consistent player population because the players choose to come back. A lot of these players pay a lot of real-life monies to play DCUO with style. Count me biased, but I think loyal players deserve a little bit more than the average episode revisiting Washington, D.C. for the third time. Each time you buy a new power set, it should just include another character slot so you don't have to delete any of your pre-existing characters. You do get a free character slot the first time you buy a new power set, like the power ring, but anytime after that you either have to delete a character or you have to pay $6 to get a new character slot, which isn't bad, but if you have a personality disorder like me, it can add up over time. Speaking of power rings though, you can purchase the power ring bundle for about $20, and yet there's only 3 power ring colors. I know the bundle offers a bit more, but given that the Green Lantern comics displays at least 9 different emotional colors, I think it would be pretty cool to have a color selector at the very least. This solution is a bit more practical, seeing as that like any role that you would play as like a blue lantern or indigo lantern or a pink lantern, it's all that can fall under the umbrella of the Green Lantern ring power set. Because you can be a healer, you can be a controller, or you can be a DPS. Detective Comics has a huge menagerie of characters. A lot of them with their own unique powers. Like, I get that the base model version of the game wanted to supply a general selection of powers, but over time they started to release new powers and had to even make new animations for those powers. So really anything is possible. I'm just wondering how we got a munitions power ability before we got a stretchy arm guy power ability. I guess you decide if guns are cooler than Plastic Man.
Relax, rookie. I've seen a lot of thugs. This guy's no shooter.
My leg!
Well,
And no, I will not settle for the nature power ability. You can only turn into 3 different beings. It's great for Beast Boy metas, but it falls short if you want to make a Plastic Man-like character or even a Martian Manhunter-like character. Like Martian Manhunter though, Plastic Man is already in the game.
Whip out these moves and everyone's gonna be rubbernecking!
Referencing the power rings again, the mechanics of using the power ring in combat is very cool. And this might be a stretch to ask, but maybe the developers could use the same animations, but instead of light constructs, it's just your stretchy skin. Dude, the niche group of Reed Richards fans would be living. And don't get confused, I know Mr. Fantastic is a Marvel character, but there is no Marvel Universe online. So a lot of those Marvel fans just come over to DCUO and they make their character look like Spider-Man or Mr. Fantastic. I see a lot of Dark Phoenix kind of, or just like regular Phoenix, Jean Grey. I see a lot of Storm. The most used style though would have to be every variation of Spider-Man and Spider-Woman. Which is why I think DCUO needs a potentially new power set and mobility type for Spider-themed characters. I'm not sure how practical this would be, but I've been watching some playthroughs of older Spider-Man games, and I think the swinging from those games could be applied to DCUO pretty easily. I'm no developer or anything like that, so I don't know what kind of actual effort goes into making that happen, but there are tons of old Spider-Man games that are older than DCUO. Like, how's that even possible? And I'm not saying to literally copy paste, but the mechanics don't seem too difficult to replicate. It would just have to be swag enough to satisfy the swinging itch. Ask anyone who plays Spider-Man PS4. Once they finish the game, they just spend hours swinging around the sandbox. But with Sony's death grip on Spider-Man, how could DCUO even think of getting away with applying Spider-Man-like mechanics to their game? Well, DC already has their own wall crawler. I'm talking, of course, about Black Spider. Characters get revived all the time in mediums outside of comics, and the closest we ever got to that was Young Justice, but even then he was just a throwaway character.
Don't you just love my balls?
Usually, just like back in the old days, if someone was called Black something, especially on DC's side, it meant that they were actually a black person. And someone at DC back in the day thought it was the best idea to make a black supervillain who was addicted to heroin. Maybe they thought if they diverted the addiction to a white boy drug, it wouldn't come off as racist. But to bring the character to a game like DCUO, he would have to be rather PG-13 friendly at least. He may not be addicted to heroin in the game. It could just be kind of hinted at, like it's like a drug that's very dangerous and could kill you. But that's more likely. They would have to shift what it is specifically. Kind of like how they vaguely referenced the Holocaust in the X-Men show back in the 90s, but they couldn't outright say that Magneto was a survivor yet. It's not bad to have a flawed black character. It's not bad to be addicted to drugs. There is a way to carefully create a story about someone battling addiction and then coming to terms with needing help. And it's easier said than done, but I think that story could resonate with a lot of people. Just think of it. The first rebranding for a DC character to make waves from a video game medium. The best part is, Sony can't do anything about it. If they could have, they would have already. Besides, a big chunk of the player base already have Spider-Man and Spider-Woman styles on their characters, so just give the people what they want, honestly. It definitely wouldn't be a poor use of resources, especially given how popular the new power sets have been in the past. It avoids Sony's strict exclusive laws on Spider-Man, and it also allows all types of fans from every wage bracket to enjoy the dopamine hit of swinging. If you fancy yourself a DCUO fan, I'd like to know what other things you'd think would make DCUO a better game, or what sort of things you want from a possible remake sequel game.